All right, guys, today we are adding and subtracting with decimals. This is a skill you learned in 5th grade. I know you're going to say, I didn't learn it, but yeah, you did. Even so, we're going to practice it today. So the first thing you need to do is put your name and date on the paper. So the biggest thing to remember when you are adding or subtracting decimals is that you need to make sure to line up the place values. So all the ones places should be in line with each other, all the tens places should be in line with each other, all of the tenths places, all the hundredths places should all line up together. The easiest way to make sure your place values are all lined up is to make sure you line up the decimal. A word of warning, I have a really annoying YouTube video that I will make you watch if you cannot remember to keep your decimal lined up. Trust me, you don't want to have to watch it. Anywho, when you are adding and subtracting decimals, you're basically just adding and subtracting like you normally would, as long as you make sure your place values are lined up. One of the biggest mistakes we make when we're adding and subtracting decimals is that we don't line up properly and we end up getting answers that don't make sense. So it's important to remember that you can use estimation when doing any decimal operations in order to figure out if your answer is what we call reasonable, meaning if it makes sense. So let's try this one. 3.92 or 3 92/100ths plus 1 5/100ths. Notice my decimal place is in line, my ones place is in line, my tenths and my hundredths are in line. If I were doing estimation to make sure my answer is reasonable, I would just round to the nearest ones place. So 3.9, the 3 is in the ones place, it looks to the 9, 5 or more, add 1 more. So this should be 4. Down here I have 1. If I look to the right, I have a 0. 4 or less, let it rest. So this would round to 1. So if I rounded this out, I would have 4 plus 1, which equals 5. So a reasonable answer for this is going to be anything that's near 5. Let's go ahead and try to solve it. 2 plus 5 is 7. 9 plus 0 is 9. 3 plus 1 is 4. Right now it looks like I have 497. I need to remember that I'm looking for a number that's near 5. So 497, I should be like, oh, that's not a reasonable answer. Wait a minute, I forgot my decimal. Your decimal point, just like all of your numbers, are going to just come straight down and go in between your 1 and your tenths place. Now I have 4.97, which is extremely close to the number 5. All right, let's try this one together. 2.17, or 2 17/100ths, minus 8/10. I personally like to rewrite it so that I have it going vertically, meaning up and down. It is your choice. Now here, it gets confusing. 0.8. I have 2 digits here and 3 digits there. We would normally like to put 0 and 8 here, but that's not right. The easiest way to do it, start with your decimal. The decimal's going here. There's an 8 after my decimal, and there's a 0 before it. Oh man, that's weird. I have a space here. What can I add? That's right, boys and girls. I can add a 0 for a placeholder, because 8/10 is the same thing as 80/100ths, which we're going to show you tomorrow with 100ths blocks. So now I have 7 minus 0, which equals 7. 1 minus 8, which I can't do. So I'm going to borrow from this 2. He becomes 1. This becomes 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. And my decimal point is going to come straight down. 1 37/100ths. If I wanted to check to see if my answer was reasonable, I could go back and round. 2 looks to the 1. The 1 says 4 or less. Let it rest, so it stays a 2. I have a 0 in the ones place here. If I look at the 8, 4, 5 or more, add 1 more. I'm sorry, this is a subtraction sign, not a minus, or plus sign. So I ended up with 2 minus 1 equals 1. Our answer should be near 1, which it is. All right, I'm going to have you go ahead and try the last problem. So pause the video, and when you're finished, you can go ahead and hit play. All right, I tried to trick you on this one. Here I have 51, and when I go to add my problem in, I don't have a decimal to line it up with. So I need to add a decimal to the end because that's going to show me that it's a part of a number. 51 and 0/10 is the same thing as saying 51. Now I can go back and add my 3/10 to the problem. 0 plus 3 is 3. 1 plus 0 is 1. And you bring down your 5. Make sure you remember to bring down your decimal point. You guys have 6 problems to try tonight. Do your best with them, and I will see you in the morning.